The hallway was filled with quiet claps and nods, the kind of polite applause that means nothing and everything at once. People smiled without warmth. Words floated, but no one really heard them. It was one of those post-event silences where everything was done, but nothing felt complete. Keanu Reeves had just stepped off stage. The lights still echoed in his eyes, and the weight of everyone watching him lingered on his shoulders like invisible sandbags. He didn't mind the weight. He had carried heavier things in his life. But tonight, something felt off. He didn't know what it was yet. He just knew he needed to leave. Not because he was tired, not because he was done, but because staying any longer would mean pretending, and he didn't have that in him anymore. So he walked. He walked past the velvet curtains, past the makeup crew still packing up, past the producer trying to pretend he wasn't watching every step, past the actors gathered near the water cooler, already talking about what came next. He walked past everyone, until a soft voice stopped him. Not loud, not sharp, just enough. Keanu. He turned slowly. There was something in the way she said his name, something that didn't ask for attention but held it anyway. It wasn't a call. It was a tether. Ana de Armas stood near the corner of the hallway. She wasn't dressed for attention. Her hair wasn't done like the others. She wasn't even facing him fully. Her arms were crossed, her eyes low, like she had just made a choice she wasn't sure about. And yet, it was clear. She hadn't just said his name by chance. He stopped walking. Everything around him kept moving, but he stayed still. "You okay?" he asked, voice steady but low. She looked up slowly. Her eyes were tired. Not the kind of tired sleep could fix, but the kind that builds from carrying something too long without saying a word. It was the kind of look he knew too well. "You didn't look back," she said gently. The words didn't blame him. They didn't accuse. They just sat there in the space between them like a small truth. He took a few steps closer. Not too many. Not yet. "I didn't think anyone needed me to." Ana hesitated. Then she leaned back slightly against the wall. Her voice was even softer now, like she was afraid the moment might break if she spoke too loud. "Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did." He watched her, not with the eyes of someone looking at a scene or a script, but with the eyes of someone who knew how it felt to be missed while standing right in front of everyone. "I don't like crowds," she said after a pause. "You'd think I would, right? With all of this? Cameras, lights, interviews?" Keanu didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked around, the hallway, the people moving without noticing, the noise that didn't touch them. Then he looked back at her. "I don't like them either," he said simply. That made her smile. Just a little. Just enough. For a moment, there was silence again. Not the kind that hangs heavy, but the kind that holds space. The kind that invites something deeper. Ana finally spoke. "They said I did great. All of them. Even the director." "You did," Keanu replied. She shook her head, looking down. "But I didn't feel it. Not when I walked off. Not when they clapped. Not even when they said it with smiles." "Why not?" Ana took a deep breath. "Because the only person I wanted to hear it from was already halfway to the door." Keanu's heart didn't skip a beat. It didn't race. It just slowed, like something inside him had shifted and wanted him to sit with it for a while. He took another step closer. "I watched you during the scene," Ana said, not looking at him. "You always give, even when the camera's not on you. Even when it's my close-up, not yours. I felt it." "That's the job," Keanu said quietly. "No," she whispered. That's kindness. He looked down. No one had called it that before. Not out loud. Not like this. Anna turned her head slightly, still not facing him completely. I think I needed you to see me. Not just tonight, but before. During the table read. During rehearsal. Every time I felt like I was the only one unsure. Keanu took a breath. It felt heavy. I saw you, he said softly. Every time. But you didn't stop, she said. You never do. His voice dropped to a hush. Because I didn't think I was allowed to. She finally turned to face him. Her eyes were wet, but not crying. Why not? Because I've spent so long being the strong one, the quiet one, the steady one. And sometimes when you play that part long enough, people forget you might want to sit down too. Anna stepped forward. Not much. Just a little. Just enough that he could see the emotion she had been holding back for weeks. So what now? She asked. Keanu looked at her. Really looked at her. Not as a co-star. Not as someone who shared the spotlight. But as someone who had whispered his name when no one else did. She looked surprised. What is it? Just a note. About your performance. About what I saw in you. I didn't know if it was my place to say it. So I kept it. He handed it to her. She opened the note slowly. Her hands trembled a little. The paper was creased, but the ink hadn't faded. She read silently. A few seconds in, her lips parted slightly. By the end, her face had softened into something quiet and full. You wrote this? Yeah. She looked up. Why me? Keanu shrugged. Because you remind me what it means to care about something. Anna folded the note carefully. You don't know what this means. Maybe not, he said, but you needed it. So I gave it. And that was it. There were no big speeches, no perfect music playing, no grand hugs or dramatic camera angles. Just two people on the hallway floor sharing pieces of themselves in between passing footsteps. Anna looked over. You know something? What? I don't want to go home yet. Keanu looked at her. Where do you want to go? She smiled. Anywhere that doesn't ask me to pretend. Keanu stood slowly, then reached out his hand. Then let's go there, he said. Anna took it without hesitation, and they walked side by side, not knowing where they were going. But for the first time in a long time, they weren't walking alone. They didn't speak much as they left the building. The night air outside was soft and still, the kind that wrapped around your skin like a quiet hug. The city noise felt distant. The flashing signs, the hum of traffic, the blur of passing people, it all faded behind them. Anna and Keanu walked in silence, but not the empty kind. It was a silence filled with understanding, the kind that didn't need words to feel full. Keanu kept his hands in his coat pockets. Anna walked with her arms loosely crossed, her head slightly tilted down. They didn't rush. They didn't check their phones. They didn't talk about scripts or the event or what tomorrow would bring. They just walked. Two people trying to breathe in a world that often asked them to hold it all in. After a few blocks, they turned into a small side street. Quiet. No one else around. Fairy lights strung above an old cafe flickered like tired stars. The cafe was closed, but the bench outside was empty. Let's sit, Anna said softly. Keanu nodded. They sat close but not touching. The wood beneath them was rough, but neither complained. Anna leaned back against the wall behind the bench and looked up at the lights. You ever feel like you're disappearing even while everyone sees you? She asked. Keanu turned to her. Every day. She nodded slowly. I knew it wasn't just me, but it still feels lonely. Keanu didn't answer. Instead, he pulled something small from his coat pocket again. It was a photo. Faded, folded at the edges. He handed it to her without a word. She looked down. It was a picture of a young Keanu, maybe in his early 20s, standing beside someone she didn't recognize. A woman with soft eyes. The background looked like a small theater stage. No audience, just two people. Alone, but smiling. "Who is she?" Anna asked. "A drama teacher," he said quietly. "My first one. She believed in me before I did." Anna studied the woman's face. "She looks kind." She was. She never told me to be great. She just told me to be honest. That was enough. Anna handed the photo back. "What happened to her?" Keanu folded it carefully. "She passed away just before I got my first big role. She never saw it. But I carry her with me." Anna looked down at her hands. "I never had that. No one liked that. I always felt like I had to prove something before people even cared." Keanu nodded. "Sometimes the world waits for you to fall before it claps for your strength." Anna's eyes filled with quiet hurt. "I don't want to fall." "Then lean," he said, "before you reach the edge." She looked at him, confused. He clarified. "Lean on someone, even if just for a minute." Anna gave a soft laugh, not out of humor, but disbelief. "It's hard to trust." "I know," he said gently, "but I'm not asking for forever. Just tonight." She looked at him, her expression open and vulnerable. "Okay," she whispered. "Just tonight." The wind picked up slightly. Anna tucked her hands into her sleeves. Keanu noticed, then shrugged off his coat and placed it around her shoulders without saying a word. She pulled it close. "You didn't have to." "I know." For a moment, they just sat there. The lights above flickered again. A car passed slowly in the distance. A dog barked somewhere far off. Life went on. But for them, time felt paused. Anna tilted her head toward him. "You ever think about who you'd be if none of this happened? No acting. No fame." Keanu thought for a second. "Maybe a mechanic. Something with my hands. Something quiet. Maybe I'd fix old cars." Anna smiled. "That actually fits you." "And you?" "I see someone who hasn't stopped loving the work, even when the work stopped loving her back. I see someone who still gives everything when she could easily give nothing. I see someone strong enough to whisper, even when everyone else is shouting." Anna blinked quickly, fighting off more tears. "You're not chasing approval," he added. "You're chasing peace, but you've been looking in the wrong places." "Where should I look?" she asked. He turned toward her fully now. "Inside. Not in them. Not in me. Inside you." A car passed slowly. Someone honked down the block. A dog barked again in the distance. Anna took a deep breath. "Can I tell you one more thing?" "Anything," he said. "I don't want to be saved," she said. "I just want someone to sit beside me while I figure it out." Keanu nodded slowly. "Then I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to walk with you until you stop feeling broken." Her eyes filled again. But this time, she didn't hide it. She let the tears fall. Slow, quiet. She didn't sob. She didn't shake. She just let go. And Keanu didn't move. He didn't offer a tissue. He didn't pat her shoulder. He just stayed. And that was more than enough. After a while, Anna asked, "What would you say to your younger self?" Keanu took his time answering. "I'd tell him it's okay to be gentle, that he doesn't have to be hard just because the world is. I'd tell him to trust the quiet moments, because that's where the truth lives. And I'd tell him that pain doesn't make you weaker. It makes you see deeper." Anna smiled through her tears. I wish someone had told me that at 15. I just did, he said. The night had stretched far past what either of them expected. By now, the cafe lights above them had gone dark. Even the distant hum of the city had softened, like the world itself was holding its breath. Keanu and Anna sat in that silence, their shadows barely visible under the soft glow of a street lamp nearby. Anna hadn't spoken for a while, and Keanu didn't press her. Some silences needed space, some hearts needed quiet to untangle. But when she finally did speak, her voice came low and careful, like she was choosing each word from deep inside. I lied earlier, she said. Keanu turned his head slightly. About what? About quitting. She kept her eyes forward. I wasn't going to wait until the film wrapped. I already packed up my place last week. I had a flight booked. I didn't tell anyone. His face stayed calm, but his chest felt heavy. Why didn't you go? He asked. She turned to him slowly. Because you sat down. Keanu didn't speak. Anna looked down at her hands, fingers loosely tangled together. It's strange, she continued, how something that small, just one moment, can stop everything from falling apart. Small things aren't always small, Keanu said gently. Sometimes they're the thread holding everything together. She nodded. I didn't think anyone would notice if I left. Not really. Keanu leaned forward, voice low. You've been noticed, Anna. Every time you chose grace instead of anger. Every time you stayed kind when others weren't. Every time you showed up, even when you were tired. You were seen. They both smiled, and the bench didn't feel so hard anymore. The night didn't feel so heavy. Anna looked up at the stars. Do you think we'll be okay? I think we already are, he said. She looked at him, searching. How do you know? Because you whispered my name when everyone else stayed quiet, he said. And I turned around. Silence again, but it was warm now. Like a blanket, like safety. Anna leaned her head gently against his shoulder. Not dramatic, not romantic, just human. Keanu didn't move, he didn't flinch. He let her rest. And in doing so, he rested too. She sighed. I don't know. Maybe a teacher or a writer. Someone who could still feel things but not have to perform them. You still can, he said. Can what? Feel without performing. Anna's lips parted. No words came out. Just emotion. You're not invisible, he added softly. You're just surrounded by people who forget how to see. Her breath caught. She looked away, trying to hide the tear that slipped down her cheek. She wiped it fast, but Keanu had already noticed. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be, he said. You're not broken. Anna leaned her head back against the wall again. You always say the right thing. No, he replied. I just say the quiet thing. The thing most people are too busy to hear. You're different, she said. So are you, he replied. They sat for a long time, watching nothing and everything at once. Then Anna asked something she had been holding in since day one. Do you think I belong here? In this world? Keanu looked at her with quiet certainty. You don't just belong here, he said. You make it softer. She smiled with her eyes closed. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. He looked ahead. Then people haven't been saying enough. Anna leaned forward and rested her arms on her knees. She looked like she wanted to say something else, something big, something personal. But she stopped herself. Keanu didn't push. Instead, he said, Sometimes the most important part of a story is the part you're too scared to say. Anna turned her head toward him. And if I said it? I'd listen. They sat a moment longer before she finally whispered, I was going to quit. Keanu froze slightly, then turned to her. When? After this project, she said. I had already made up my mind. I was going to finish this and disappear. His voice was steady, but soft. Why? Because I thought no one would notice if I left. He stared at her. No expression, no panic, just stillness. I would have, he said. Anna looked down at her lap. I didn't think anyone saw me anymore. I felt like a shadow, always there, never held. Keanu nodded once. You're not a shadow. You're the light everyone keeps walking past without noticing. Anna's hands trembled slightly in her lap, her breath shaky. Then why does it hurt so much to be seen? She asked. Because when someone really sees you, he said, you can't hide anymore. Anna met his eyes. And you still stayed? I'm still here, he said. And that was the truth. Not just in words, but in presence. They stayed on that bench for what felt like hours, though neither checked the time. The sky had darkened into deeper blue, the kind just before midnight. Traffic thinned, and the lights above them flickered slower, as if they, too, were growing tired. But Anna didn't want to leave, not yet. And Keanu didn't ask her to. When she finally spoke again, her voice was slower, heavier, like she'd been walking through something deep in her own mind. I remember the first time I saw you in real life, she said. Keanu looked over gently. You were standing near the back of the rehearsal space. Everyone else was talking and laughing and trying to be noticed, but you were just there, quiet, like the room didn't own you the way it owned the rest of us. He smiled a little. I was nervous. She turned to him. You were? Of course, he said. Everyone thinks because I've been doing this a long time, it gets easier. It doesn't. It just gets quieter. The fear doesn't go away. It just stops screaming. Anna rested her chin on her arms. I thought you looked like you belonged. I thought I was the one who didn't. We all feel that way, Keanu said, especially the ones who care. A breeze moved through the alley, rustling a piece of paper across the ground. Anna watched it blow by, then whispered, Do you think we're just pretending? All of us? Keanu thought for a second. Maybe. But pretending doesn't mean it's not real. Sometimes we pretend just to survive the moment. It's okay to fake strength until the real thing shows up. She didn't answer. She just nodded, slowly. Then she said something she hadn't told anyone. Not her manager, not her family, not her closest friend. When I was 15, I got rejected from my first audition. They told me I didn't look right for the part. Too soft, they said. Not enough edge. I went home and cut my hair short that night. I wanted to change everything about myself. Keanu listened without interrupting. I've been chasing approval ever since, she whispered. Every role, every magazine, every red carpet. And the truth is, I don't even know what I want anymore. I only know what people expect. Keanu leaned forward, elbows on his knees, voice soft. Do you want to know what I see when I look at you? She didn't speak. She just nodded. The night had stretched far past what either of them expected. By now, the cafe lights above them had gone dark. Even the distant hum of the city had softened, like the world itself was holding its breath. Keanu and Anna sat in that silence, their shadows barely visible under the soft glow of a street lamp nearby. Anna hadn't spoken for a while, and Keanu didn't press her. Some silences needed space. Some hearts needed quiet to untangle, but when she finally did speak, her voice came low and careful, like she was choosing each word from deep inside. I lied earlier, she said. Keanu turned his head slightly. About what? About quitting. She kept her eyes forward. I wasn't going to wait until the film wrapped. I already packed up my place last week. I had a flight booked. I didn't tell anyone. His face stayed calm, but his chest felt heavy. Why didn't you go? He asked. She turned to him slowly. Because you sat down. Keanu didn't speak. Anna looked down at her hands, fingers loosely tangled together. It's strange, she continued, how something that small, just one moment, can stop everything from falling apart. Small things aren't always small, Keanu said gently. Sometimes they're the thread holding everything together. She nodded. I didn't think anyone would notice if I left. Not really. Keanu leaned forward, voice low. You've been noticed, Anna. Every time you chose grace instead of anger. Every time you stayed kind when others weren't. Every time you showed up, even when you were tired. You were seen. Anna blinked quickly. Then why did it still feel like I was invisible? Because the loudest people often see the least, he said. Her breath caught, and for a second she looked like she might cry again, but she didn't. Instead, she gave a soft, exhausted laugh. You say these things like they've been inside you for years. They have, he said. They sat back against the bench again. Anna looked toward the sky. Do you believe in timing? I believe in moments, Keanu replied, and in what we choose to do with them. She looked at him. So what do we do with this one? Keanu turned to face her fully now. You said you weren't looking to be saved. You just wanted someone to sit beside you. And that's what I did. But maybe now, maybe you don't have to sit anymore. Anna frowned gently. What do you mean? He stood up and reached out his hand. Let's walk. She looked at his hand for a second, then took it. They walked, slowly, side by side, not saying much, just moving forward. Keanu led her through the quiet streets, not toward anywhere specific, just forward, through alleys lined with ivy, past shuttered bookstores, beneath streetlights flickering softly like tired eyes trying to stay open. This place, Keanu said, stopping suddenly. They stood in front of a small theater, old, the kind most people didn't even notice anymore. The sign was crooked. The posters in the window faded, but Keanu looked at it like it was something sacred. I used to come here before anyone knew my name, he said. I watched plays, sat in the last row, just watched. Anna stared at it. It's beautiful. I used to dream here, he said. And now? I still do, but sometimes the dreams get heavy. Anna nodded. I know that weight. Keanu looked at her. What do you dream of now? Being okay, she whispered. Being seen for more than my face, for more than the roles. Just for being human. Then that's where we start, he said. They walked up to the old doors. They were locked, of course, but that didn't stop them from sitting on the steps. Like two kids again, feet touching the sidewalk, shoulders close. Anna pulled his coat tighter around her. Can I ask you something? Anything, Keanu replied. Why did you stop when I whispered your name? He thought for a moment, then said, because it was the only thing that didn't feel like noise. She turned to him slowly. I've heard my name shouted 1,000 times, he continued, in interviews, on red carpets, on film sets, but the way you said it, it was like you weren't asking for attention. You were asking for connection. Anna's throat tightened. And you gave it. Because I needed it too, he admitted. She closed her eyes. I'm tired. Me too, he said. But I don't want to go home. she whispered. Then don't. Where do I go instead? Keanu looked around. Somewhere soft. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere real. Does that place exist? She asked. He looked at her. I think we just built it, he said. And he wasn't wrong. It wasn't a building or a set. It wasn't an award or applause. It was a moment. A shared breath. A step forward. A kindness returned. Now, he said, we stay here for a minute. No cameras, no crew, just two people who need a break. Anna smiled, small and real. You're allowed to sit down too, you know. He nodded. Maybe I will. And then, without another word, he sat down on the floor of that hallway, legs crossed, back to the wall, like it was the most normal thing in the world. Anna looked at him, stunned. Then, slowly, she joined him. They sat there, not saying much, not needing to. For the first time that night, neither of them felt alone. They sat on the cold hallway floor like two kids who had snuck away from the crowd, not knowing where else to go. The tiles weren't comfortable. The lighting was too bright. People walked past every few minutes, giving them strange looks. But none of that mattered, because for the first time in weeks, maybe longer, both Keanu and Anna felt like they didn't have to pretend. Anna hugged her knees to her chest. Keanu sat back against the wall with his arms resting loosely on his legs. He didn't speak, and neither did she. Not at first. They just breathed the same air and shared the same silence. Not the kind of silence that feels awkward, but the kind that says, I see you. After a while, Anna glanced over and asked quietly, Did you ever think about quitting? Keanu turned his head slowly, surprised by the question. Acting? She nodded. He gave it a moment, then said, Yeah, more than once. What stopped you? The quiet. Anna blinked. The quiet? Keanu looked ahead. When I'm on set and everything is ready, the cameras roll, the lights are still, no one says a word. In that silence, just before a scene starts, I feel something. Like the world pauses and lets me be something real. That's why I stayed. Not for the fame, not for the roles, just for that. Anna leaned her head on her knees. I don't feel that yet. I want to, but I don't. It'll come, he said. But you have to stop listening to the wrong people first. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You mean the critics? He shook his head. No. I mean the voice in your head that tells you you're not enough. It's louder than all of them. Anna didn't reply, but her face changed. Just a little. Like his words had brushed against something fragile inside her. After a few seconds, she said, You know, the first day on set, I forgot my lines. No one noticed because the camera wasn't on me. But you were standing across from me and you waited. Not in an obvious way. You just paused, like you were giving me space to catch up. Keanu looked down, then smiled. I remember. That moment, she said, felt bigger than the entire movie. Keanu glanced at her. You ever tell anyone that? No, just you. They both smiled, small, honest, healing. A door opened nearby. Voices came through. One of the assistants peeked out, noticed them on the floor, and quickly disappeared like she'd seen something she wasn't supposed to. Keanu chuckled. We probably look ridiculous. Anna laughed. Probably, but I don't want to move. Me neither. Then, for the first time since she'd whispered his name, Anna asked something brave. Can I tell you something you're not supposed to hear? Keanu looked over. Sure. She lowered her voice, serious now. I'm scared. All the time. Not of the roles or the lines, but of losing myself in all of this. Sometimes I wake up and wonder if people even see me, or just the version of me they want to believe in. Keanu nodded slowly. I get that. More than you know. Anna's voice cracked. What if one day I stop liking myself? Then you call someone who sees you when you can't. She looked at him with wet eyes. Like you? Yeah, he said. Like me. A long silence stretched again, this one heavier. Anna wiped her face gently. I thought you didn't notice me much. You're always so quiet. I notice a lot when I'm quiet. She looked down, whispering, So what did you notice? He leaned back again, staring at the ceiling. I noticed the way you try to disappear when people praise you, the way you bite your lip when you're nervous, how you always walk to the edge of a room instead of the center, how you check your phone not because you're distracted, but because you don't want to look lonely. Anna didn't move. She didn't even breathe for a second. I noticed, he said again, softer. Her voice broke. Why didn't you say anything before? Because I thought maybe you needed someone to just sit beside you first. A soft sob escaped her lips, but it wasn't loud. It wasn't sad. It was something in between. Thank you, she whispered. Keanu reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something folded. I wrote this after our third scene together, he said. Never gave it to you. She looked surprised. What is it? Just a note about your performance, about what I saw in you. I didn't know if it was my place to say it, so I kept it. He handed it to her. It was two people, sitting on the steps of a forgotten theater, rewriting what belonging meant. Anna leaned her head on his shoulder again. Keanu rested his cheek on her hair. And for the first time since everything started, there was no tension in their bodies, no walls between their words, just warmth, just peace. The sun hadn't risen yet, but a soft glow was beginning to touch the edges of the sky. Morning was coming slowly, stretching its fingers across the sleeping city. Anna and Keanu still sat on the steps of the old theater, legs folded, shoulders touching. They hadn't moved in a long time, and yet something inside them had. Anna broke the quiet first, her voice low, raw. I think I forgot how to feel like a person. Keanu didn't look at her right away. He just nodded. That happens, he said. When you give yourself away in pieces, scene after scene, year after year, until the only version of you that's left is the one they wrote. Anna hugged her knees. But I let it happen. I smiled for photos. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I acted like it didn't matter. You survived, Keanu said. That's not weakness. She was quiet for a while. Then she looked over at him, tears pooling again but not falling this time. What about you? She asked. Do you still know who you are? Keanu turned his gaze to the empty street. Some days. Other days I just try to be kind. If I can't be anything else, I can at least be kind. Anna breathed slowly. You're more than kind. He looked at her, unsure. You saved me tonight, she said. You whispered first, he replied. They smiled. The wind picked up gently. It wasn't cold. It was the kind of breeze that clears things out, the kind that signals something new is coming. Anna slowly stood. Her body ached from sitting, but it felt lighter. I want to go back, she said. Keanu rose with her. To set? To myself, she said. He nodded. Then let's find her. They started walking again, this time not through quiet streets, but toward the heart of the city, toward movement, toward light, toward everything they had stepped away from earlier that night, but now with something different in their step. "Can I tell you something?" Keanu asked. "Of course," Anna said. "I was going to leave too, after this project, fade out slowly, disappear without a word." Anna looked at him, shocked. "Why?" "Because I thought maybe I had already said everything I had to say." She stopped walking. "But you haven't." He smiled gently. "I know that now." They stood on a street corner. Traffic was beginning again. People would soon be waking up, stepping into rolls, grabbing coffee, rushing to places they didn't want to be. The city would become loud again, overwhelming, filled with faces that smiled too big and eyes that didn't listen. But Anna and Keanu stood still in the middle of it all, breathing. "You think it'll last?" she asked. "What?" "This feeling, this peace." "Not forever," he said, "but long enough." Anna thought about that. Long enough to what? To remember who you are before the noise starts again. A soft silence stretched between them. Then Anna stepped forward and hugged him. Not dramatic, not for show, just real. Arms around his back, head on his shoulder. And Keanu hugged her back. Steady, warm, whole. When they pulled apart, neither said goodbye, because it didn't feel like an end. It felt like a beginning. Anna turned to walk toward her apartment. Keanu toward his bike parked down the block. But they both turned one last time. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For staying," she whispered. He smiled. "Always." And then they parted. Not because they were alone again, but because they didn't have to be. Not anymore. Later that day, Anna walked onto set. She wasn't late. She wasn't early. She walked in with calm steps, holding a folded piece of paper in her hand. It was the note Keanu had written her weeks ago. She had read it again that morning. Not for validation, but for grounding. People greeted her with the usual words. "How are you? You look amazing. Did you see the script changes?" But something had changed. She didn't nod and smile out of habit this time. She smiled because she meant it. And Keanu? He arrived not long after. Someone asked him if he'd gotten enough rest. He just nodded and glanced toward Anna, who looked up from her coffee and gave him a small wave. Their eyes met for a second. Nothing needed to be said. Not anymore. The director called for the scene. Lights shifted. Cameras clicked. People took their places. Anna stepped forward. Keanu stood across from her. The slate clapped. Action! And as the scene began, neither of them were acting. Not really. They were just being. They were present, seen, heard, home.